Hey guys, Ron here, and the title is pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to take a few of my least favorite Pokemon and redesign them, but there are a few things to understand. I'm going to change them based on the reasons I dislike each individual Pokemon here. Some will have drastic changes, while some will have only a few tweaks, but overall the concept of these Pokemon are completely the same. Simipour is still going to be a water monkey, and Sunflora is still going to be a sunflower. I'm going to change them based on the concept that Game Freak intended to create. That means we're going to analyze the origins and design inspirations of each Pokemon so we can make sure that they're still the same Pokemon. Some of them will end up having their origins more explicit in the final design. If you enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and share, because there are some more Pokemon I would love to redesign in future videos. Let's start with my second least favorite Pokemon. I'll save my least favorite for last, because it ends up being my favorite. But we'll begin with Simipour. Here are the facts before we get to the opinions. The Simis are based on the three wise monkeys, those that speak no evil, hear no evil, and see no evil. The three Simis are also presumed to be designed after various Japanese subcultures that are the antithesis or opposite of the evils that the Simis are trying to stay away from. For example, Simisage, who speaks no evil, has a design based on Yankees, Japanese punks who constantly cuss or speak evil. Simipour's design refers to Gyarus or Ganguros, who are obsessed with a certain extreme look, therefore actually failing to see no evil. Simipour's design traits allude to waterfalls and geysers. In fact, there are multiple aquatic monkey species in real life, and various water monkey myths. Simipour may even be a visual pun on sea monkeys, who are really just a type of shrimp. Who knows? Regardless, it's one of the few Pokemon I dislike. I think it looks goofy and way more cartoony than the average Pokemon. It doesn't look natural or wild like most monkeys, who look agile or less bipedal than the average human. This dude is just walking around like a man and saying hello. Its hubris irks me. Who does he think he is? The vibes it puts off annoy me. In terms of design, it's worse. I hate how its face and monkey features are such juvenile representations of what a monkey looks like. It's too simple for me. Its hair looks like a wig, and it's clearly wearing a dress or blouse. Nothing about it looks aquatic at all. It's blue and its hair and tail mimic aquatic concepts, but as a creature, nothing indicates that it naturally evolved to be a water type. Now, I'm not going to give it webbed feet and gills in my interpretation, but I'm definitely going to make the hair more casual, and I definitely want the clothes it wears to look more seamless. But I really want to manage to give this Pokemon actual traits that Ganguro girls have, in a way that doesn't clash with the other design concepts present in this Pokemon. Let's start by roughly sketching the shape of a monkey face with long hair and adding a basic approximation of the pose. Still rough, but I want to be giving a peace sign which is more in line with the Ganguro girl. I know I want to give it a casual ponytail so it looks like actual hair instead of a wig. It's monkey-like already, trying to make face patterns that mimic eye makeup and adding more hair. The neck fur will be separate instead of a white pattern on the chest. I'm making the ponytail look like flowing water and making the hair more seamless with the face. I experimented with one eye open as if it's peeking or winking, but nah. The dress will be more of like a romper, I guess. And now I'm finishing up the face pattern so it looks like the upper eyelid has eyeshadow and eyeliner. Added an extra pattern on the belly that looks like waves, and it breaks up the emptiness too. Almost forgot the tail, but that's gonna be the same since I liked how it looked like a geyser in the original. And then, based on your feedback on Twitter, I made the head bigger so it looks less humanoid and slightly wider. And here it is, my interpretation of Simipour. I made sure to make its top eyelid white to mimic the white eye makeup that Ganguros have, and gave it a streak of lighter blue hair in the ponytail, like Ganguros as well. But it still looks natural. The ponytail is actually a knot, but looks like it's held together by a pearl, and I kept the color scheme but added more light blue to break up what I thought was too much of an unnatural blue color. I was originally going to make it way lighter, but bright colors would make sense based on its perceived origins. It's obviously the same exact Pokemon with the same stats and abilities. Maybe if you enjoyed this one, we'll redesign another Simi in the next part with the same face. Again, it's totally fine if you dislike my new design or even to like the original Pokemon in the first place. This is all personal. I don't think any of these Pokemon are objectively bad or that my new designs are objectively better. Now it's time for Klinklang. They're gears. This one's easy. I love Unova and this is the last Gen 5 Mon here, but when you have the biggest decks in the franchise, you're gonna have more duds. I'm fine with the gear Pokemon. I mean, Magearna isn't bad, but I personally think this is the most lazy design in Pokemon. It's just straight up gears with a face. It's not a gear creature. I mean, it is, but it doesn't look like one. It looks like it's in pain, and that's my least favorite aspect of it. I wouldn't want to hang out with a Klinklang, and based on its permanent expression, I don't think it cares. It lacks personality, but at the very least, it looks pretty cool in motion. In general, I just like evolutions that are just the same Pokemon but more, whether it be more faces or more machinery, and I hate it when it's done twice, in an evolutionary line. That's why in the final product, Klink will evolve into Klinklang. To be fair, I think Klang is actually one of my least favorite Pokemon since Klinklang looks cooler than Klang. but I think it's more about what Klinklang represents than its actual design. Klinklang is a bad idea done twice. This one's hard since I never ever draw inorganic things. Machinery isn't my preferred art, so the perspective and physics of the new design won't be great, but the concept I think I have will be endearing. To help, I'm gonna use guides so everything is straight. The gear is gonna be its hat instead of its face, and the face will be on the bulb that comes out of the center. Its face will look mechanical instead of cartoony and have some patterns and slightly happy smile, almost like it's content with its existence. It'll have a floating ball at its body and some hands that it uses to turn its head like a steering wheel or gear in this case. Whenever it turns its head, it thinks faster and raises its stats. Just adding more elements to the design and boldening it, shading it a bit so you understand the concept, and here you go. I do actually really like Klinklang's color scheme, so I kept that. And now I hope you can clearly see how the hands go up to the headgear and turn it by spinning, like a bevel gear, even though there is no bevel. But let's not talk about physics. We sacrificed real-world physics for what I believe is a better design. It's still mechanical, but it has more positive emotions. Plus its eye fits in with the aesthetic instead of being cartoony eyes. Overall, the point of the challenge was to make a Pokemon I would use, and this guy would definitely be on my team. The pre-evolved form would simply be the head without the ball body and hands, but also a cuter face and smaller hat, almost like a horizontal Bronzor. Now I'm gonna redesign Sunflora. It's just a walking flower. If the concept was so, small and it isn't useful in battle, why would I be attracted to this Pokemon? Usually at least these types of Pokemon are cute and therefore have a reason for existing, but I personally find its face ugly. So I'm gonna take the Sunflower origin and actually give it an actual concept. It'll absorb light during the day and use it to shine bright light from its petals as if it were the sun itself. A sunflower. I want to make this Pokemon mischievous so its face will stay close to the original, but more angular and a bit evil. It's pretty much a longer Sunflora, but its petals actually shine bright light so you don't see any lines between each petal. I'll make its body a bit more interesting by giving it segments and making its legs more like roots. Its face will be dark and have some lines and eyelashes, which I will tone down in the final design. And there it is. You can see that its petals shine bright and that this Pokemon has variation in the body color. Its legs are more like roots and its face is dark like a sunflower, but also like sunburnt skin. This Pokemon is planted all day, absorbing sunlight, and then once the sun sets, it jumps out of the ground and causes trouble, leaving trails of dirt along the way. If you were to catch it in the act, it will turn to you and shine its light, blinding you and allowing it to escape. This is the only Pokemon here who I gave an additional concept that wasn't present in the original Pokemon because that was the Pokemon. Its concept was boring and plainly executed. If I had my way, this Pokemon would be Grass Fairy and be a trickster like some nature fairies are. Slurpuff is gonna be weird to redesign because I'm probably gonna make it super similar to what it already looks like. I don't hate it. It's based on meringue and is basically shaped like a cake, but it's also slightly inspired by a Bichon Frise. Since I personally don't like the fact that it looks like a man-made dessert, I wish it leaned more to the dog side. I'm fine with the dessert aesthetic as long as it's clearly an animal. I don't see how this thing could naturally evolve in the real world. It was probably bred, but I also think that some dogs were bred in terrible ways. So it's kind of modeled after Isabelle from Animal Crossing, except not that I changed that whole thing later on. I don't know what to do in the beginning and how much to diverge from the original design. I know I want to make the strawberry neck drizzle more like a collar. That's the only thing I'm confident about, at this point at least. I gave it big arms and decided to give it a tail that kind of looks like Swirlix's tail thing. Right now, I'm basically just adjusting the proportions of the face until I'm satisfied. As you can see, I added more spots, and now I'm making the collar reach its face too. It looks way cuter this way. There you have it. It's pretty much a Slurpuff, but clearly a dog. It has actual limbs, a tail, and a neck. It's not an abomination, and simply a dog with a dessert aesthetic instead of a dessert creature with a possible dog origin. But don't worry, the final Pokemon will look drastically different than its original design. Aromatisse is my least favorite Pokemon. It's the fragrance Pokemon. It concocts smells to use for battling or healing. It's a bird, possibly a flamingo with traits of a flamenco and can-can dancer. It's slightly inspired by a perfume bottle and various aesthetics you see in cosmetics, but also has a masquerade mask and attire. But the fact that it's a healer, deals in scents, and has an avian mask indicates a strong possibility of a plague doctor origin. After all, these doctors would wear masks stuffed with aromatic items since good smells were thought to protect them from disease. Many people, including me, hate how we were basically robbed of a plague doctor Pokemon. Everything in Aromatisse's origin makes sense and could have made for a Pokemon with an amazing concept, but it was executed poorly. I personally hate how it's supposed to be seductive but looks super awkward and kinda ugly, so while people usually make Aromatisse a straight up plague doctor when redesigning it, I'm gonna make sure that it's still primarily a dancer with Plague Doctor and Masquerade design traits. And since I think that can-can dancers weren't a good inspiration to begin with, and were probably only added for Kalos's French theme, I'm gonna make this Pokemon a flamenco dancer with clear flamingo traits. Both of these even have the same etymology, so in the end, this will be a Pokemon loaded with tons of origins in a very cohesive way. I'm gonna start with a sassy Plague Doctor and add more flamenco dancer elements as I go along. The pose is the most important aspect in flamenco, making the hair look like a hat, but also working with the mask is gonna be the most challenging part. I don't pull it off until the end, but when I do, it'll look great. I'm gonna make the big skirt flowing like a flamenco dancer. It'll also make it look way more confident. I'm gonna make it stand on one leg like both a flamingo and a flamenco dancer. The body is 90% there, but the face isn't at all. I gave it the eyelashes it deserves, but it doesn't really flow well into the hat and mask. I fixed that problem, which helps make the face more streamlined. I changed the proportions quite a bit. Now it's way cuter and less monstrous. I'm finalizing the features and shading it a bit so you understand that it's more ominous than it looks, and there you have it. I added a bit more red since that's a staple among flamenco dancers, and a bit more feathers. This Pokemon has a reason to look confident and alluring. It dances to spread the good sense through the air. This is how it heals and attacks, through dance. I'm very proud of this design. I think it has the best balance of every single aspect that makes Aromatisse, while still clearly showcasing all of its origins in a straightforward yet streamlined manner. It flows. Not too overtly Plague Doctor-ish, but not just a flamenco dancing bird. I love that it at the very least looks like an appropriate evolution of Spritzee. Of course, I'm not as good as I could be, so let me know what you think politely in the comment section. Leave a like if you enjoyed and want more, and subscribe if you haven't. Check my description for the music I used, the t-shirts I made for you guys, and my Patreon where you can get cool rewards like seeing my videos days early. You can also get rewards by clicking the join button to become a member. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram to see the final artwork of my Pokemon too. Bye!